ChinnyVision likes trucking and we like to truck. We're fans of simulators here on ChinnyVision. We've looked at Formula 1 Grand Prix and we drove Southern Belle with Mr. PSB all the way from London to Brighton in a steam train. Choo choo. And today we have a truck simulator, but it's not Euro Truck Simulator, it's Juggernaut by CRL, a 1985 game by Pete Cook, who also brought us Talsetti. And, well, you have to redefine the keys and you get a nice menu screen. CRL stands for Computer Rentals Limited, and they were a public limited company founded by Clem Chambers, who now apparently is a financial market commentator and must have been about 19 at the time he founded CRL. You are recruited in this game to work for a haulage company, and we're just showing a practice screen here because the game has various practice screens for you to drive the lorry because it is a simulator. So as you can see, the lorry is a vector graphics and there's inertia and all sorts of things. You have to brake in time. You can't just turn because you've got a load behind you. They've thought this through. They really have thought this through. You can see at the top there's a steering wheel and damage and a speed as well, and you select your gears, first, second or reverse. So now into the game. Welcome to your first day. And we've got to, you can see the top left there, we've got to get 6 tons of timber, 5 tons of coal, 6 tons of oil and 23 tons of fruit and veg. You start off in your depot and you have to go off and find where everything is located. And don't bother making a map because the map randomizes every single game. There's a map on World of Spectrum. Pointless. There's no point to it. So when you go in second gear, which I don't advise as I am at the moment, you go 40 miles an hour and the lorry's pretty uncontrollable and you won't be able to stop very quickly. There's also first gear, which actually if you're in top speed in that's absolutely fine. And reverse gear as well. And reversing is as much fun as you can imagine it would be. We have to go and find a telephone box to find out where, we have to phone up and find out where the locations of the different depots are. But here's a petrol station. And we can load, we can fuel here. So you don't start off with full fuel. You can go to a petrol station and you can see the map there. That's where we are. We're a flashing block. But we have to find a telephone box. I'm just reversing out here, keeping very straight because, well, I mean, I've never tried reversing with a trailer in real life. And this is about as much fun as you can imagine it would be. We need to find a telephone box. I'm not sure, is that a telephone box there? It's a red box, but it's surrounded by things. You need to park the lorry up next to a telephone box. I would imagine a telephone box is going to be by the side of the road. Oh, roundabout, roundabout, roundabout. Oh, oh, oh. Beep, beep, beep. I'm imagining in this game I've got an orangutan sidekick called Clyde. That's incredulous. Let's try the roundabout again. Right, so you've got to keep an eye on that steering angle thing there up the top. You can't turn too steeply because your trailer will hit the cab. And there's no other traffic on the road, by the way, either. That's one thing. There's a telephone box. And a big marking thing next to it there to indicate as such. So if we just pull up. Press fire. Are we close enough? There we are. Right, now we need to make a phone call. Ring, ring. It rings. Like Rockstroke my hamster. Telephone inquiries. What item do you want to search for? And you have to sit through this every single time. So that's where the timber merchant is. You'd imagine it could flash up everything in one go and then you could memorise it. But no, you have to go through this ludicrous scanning thing every time. And even though we now know where the fuel is, it doesn't show it on the map. And the only time you can see the map is when you're in a phone box or at a depot. Or it's mad because if this is a lorry driver simulator, surely you could have a map in the cab with you. Where is the coal depot? Down there. The coal depot's down there. And as I say, no point memorising this because, well, it randomises every time. There was no C64 version of the game. Some of the magazines mentioned it was going to be released, and then it didn't, which is something some CRL games from this period suffer from, that C64 versions are hinted at but never seem to come out. And that game's listed as missing in action on the C64 website that lists all those things. Right, so we've got all our thing, everything appears to be over there. So if that's quite good. I can try fuel now just to show my relative location. It should be about there. No, where have we come from? Where have we come from? Fuel's there. Straight out a depot, of course. And there's more than one fuel station, and they're both pretty much next to each other. Great. Off we go again, carefully reversing out, carefully. Got a bit of an angle on my steering wheel there. Again, that could benefit from an analog controller. But I got full fuel and no damage, so it's all good. Time up top there, we're 10 minutes into the game. And it's just not worth rushing, because if you overshoot and you're in second gear going fast, you'll just crash. Now, is that a I'm seeing those. Perhaps that is a telephone box there. Am I going around in a circle? Yes, I'm going around in a circle. Oh, I've incurred damage. Which is pretty easy to do. Thankfully, there's nobody else driving. So everything's over the other side of the town, so we need to go over there. Right, so I've already died and restarted the game, and now I'm heading towards a timber yard, although I've sustained quite a lot of damage doing so by trying to reverse rather a lot and hitting the cab against the trailer. But I'm determined to get my load of timber, no matter what, even if I'm never going to be able to reverse out of here without causing more damage to my trailer. In we go. Touch the area there and press fire. Here we go. Right, load, unload. We need to load our maximum quantity, which is 6. So we need to set how many tons we want. We want 6. And the other thing is you can opt to drive lorries with larger capacities, but they're harder to drive. So you're best off starting with a smaller lorry. The only time you can pause the game as well is when you're in one of these screens. So if your mum calls you for your tea, you need to find a phone box or a depot or a petrol station to basically pause the game. And when you're unloading or loading, time passes, so the clock's advanced on to 37 minutes to simulate the amount of time it would take to get that 6 tons of timber onto the lorry. Right, got to get out of here now, reversing. This is going to be fun. Beep, 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 beep. No, come on, straighten up, straighten up, straighten up. Straighten up. No, no, I don't know what I'm doing. Help, this is... No, that's not what I want to happen. That's not what I want to happen. That's not what I want to happen. No. How do they do this? They've got they have rear steering these days, don't they? Oh, this is bad. I can't take any more damage. And I need to get out of here. Let's try going the other way. No, this is wrong. It's all going wrong again. It's not turning the way I want it to turn. All I need to do is get around this corner, straighten up and take the lorry out. This is sadistic. Do you have to do this in the Euro Truck Simulator? Basically change gear and have horrible reversing things to do. Oh, back. I'm just going to... Right, back. All I want to do is get to the depot with a load. Inertia. Come on then, really slowly. Forward, edge and turn. Come on, we're going to do it. We're going to do this. We're going to get to the depot with the load. That's all I want to do. That for me is winning the game. Slowly. Right. Turn. One item of damage, one touch. And it's game over. Come on. Glad I plugged in the zip stick today. I was going to try to play this on my cheetah joypad, but you need to be precise round the roundabout. Thank goodness there is no other traffic. Come on. Hope Mrs. Hubbard doesn't say cycle through. Well, that's Postman Pat, isn't it? Come on. Slowly. Oh. Put my foot down. I'm not going to go out of first gear. 20's plenty, as the signs say. Come on. I'm in second gear now. I'm feeling brave. We're going 40. We're flat out. That lorry chugging along. I think it's the next right. Going all the way across the map. So I've gone past my junction. Right, reverse back. The lorry stops fairly quickly, to be fair. It doesn't really simulate the inertia gap when you come to a stop. Right, so turn around here gently. My lorry full of timber. Need 13 tons. So you've got to do, oh, look how many trips you're going to need to do. You're going to need to do that trip twice more to get your 13 tons. And you've got to do 2 trips for coal, effectively 2 trips for oil, and you could combine fruit and veg, I suppose. That's got 7 with oil, but this game's going to take all day. Thankfully, you do not need to reverse into the loading bay, which if you're a real trucker, you do, or they get quite cross with you. All we've got to do is touch the hatched area and press fire. And we've got set unload. How much do we want to... Oh no, you don't have set how much we want to unload. It just unloads. Right, I'm taking that as a victory. I'm not going to get more. When they say simulator, it does simulate the tedium of trucking. Over to the Amstrad CPC version. The top section is slightly different, but ostensibly it's the same as the Specky version. You still have to redefine your keys, even if you're playing with the joystick. Why not just press J for joystick at the beginning? So let's drive. Welcome to first day of McNabb and Sons. Right, so we've told what we've got to get. 18 tons of fruit and veg. Right, off we go. Oh. And it's pretty much the same as the Spectrum version. Just reversing back here. Speedo's not as nice. And the damage is... The damage and the Speedo work differently to the Spectrum version. Odd. Really, and there's a bit of flickering going on. As well as I found my way to the Timber Merchant, which is in a different location to last time, because as I say, the game randomises the map. And I'm 5 minutes into the game, I've already got quite a lot of damage. Right, let's load up with timber. Different town name every time. This time it's Ketter Town. We'll load 6 tons of timber, and that will get us everything we need from the Timber Merchant. There's a resign button at the end, which, yeah, you feel you might need that. The time count is nicer on the Amstrad here with that smooth scrolling across, but how much extra CPU time is that taking? Oh, damage is going up. Oh, no, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. It's game over. So, restarted, driving along, and I don't see it's that much of a difference between the Spectrum and Amstrad version. It doesn't seem to be much slower, a little bit of flickering. But the map is, well, the whole game is exactly the same, probably a straight port of the Z80 code. Of course, the reason there's no C64 version is they would have had to have done some kind of rewrite, and perhaps they just didn't get it working. It's a problem CRL seem to have had over the years, getting the 6502 versions out. It's probably why they didn't quite make the name for themselves that they could have done, given how many games they released. There's various other landmarks around the map as well, but it constantly changes. Shame there's no kind of truck stop as well. You can stop and have a cup of tea to refresh yourself. That'd be nice. And just being able to get to the menu, get the map at any time. But overall on the Amstrad here, it's not that much different from the Spectrum. Juggernaut is a very innovative and different game for the Spectrum and Amstrad. It's a simulator, and as such it has the tropes that simulators have. A lot of boredom at times when nothing's happening and you're having to get shuttled between places because it's not hiding anything from you in terms of the fact your lorry has limited capacity and you might need to get 18 tons of something, which could mean 3 trips back and forth over a relatively large map. There is that slight resource management thing as well, where you have to work out, once you found the locations, how to most effectively get your load back to the depot. It is, however, quite a limited game and a frustrating one as well. You can't access the map at all times. It means you need to start noting things down. And it doesn't matter that the map changes, that gives a different challenge to the game every time. But going to the telephone box and having to scan through multiple times to see all the locations is incredibly frustrating. Reversing isn't much fun at all, but then again, it's not much fun reversing a trailer in real life, and that's a simulator, so you've got to master it. Just like in Flight Sim, you have to master landing, which is not as easy as taking off, so I can't really criticise it for that. This comes from an era where they're still experimenting with what computer games are, and I think this is a fun and valid experience to check out for half hour or so. I don't think there's much longevity in the game for the modern player, but if you're looking for something a bit different on your Spectrum or Amstrad, then grab a Yorkie bar, because this is worth checking out.